Hello, thank you for clicking on my video. In this video, I will be going through the four basic modes of Oracle Startup. This is an overview, so be sure to check out Oracle's Help Center online where you have a plethora of material that goes further into details. But if you're like me, then just having a basic understanding beforehand, especially before jumping into all that IT jargon, is always really, really helpful. And that just means you've come to the right place. Important note, even though we are focusing on Oracle startup modes, it is important to note that you should not shut down a database unless you have been told to. You let your supervisor make that decision for you. Now, of course, this is not in a learning or training environment, but in production, do not do this. And my brother or my sister, if you accidentally shut down your database and keep clients out of it, I suggest you bow your head and pray. Now there are four basic modes to startup. You have the startup, you have the no mount, mount, and open. The more detailed modes, of course, and as I said earlier, you can find those online at the Oracle Help Center. Before we jump in though, it is essential you know the difference between a database and an instance. Even though those words are used interchangeably in our field, they actually have two distinct meanings. A database is in basic terms, is a set of files. Those files are absolutely useless on their own because a special program is needed to read them. To you and I, if we looked at the database, the data in the database, it would just be gibberish to our eyes. So this is where Oracle's operating system comes in. Oracle is a database management system that gives you power to manipulate the data in a database. When Oracle's background processes and memory come together, an instance is created. Now, a key point here because it can get a bit confusing. The instance and the database are two separate entities that can exist without each other. However, the instance is open when those two entities are connected. I know this can be a bit confusing, but as we go along, it'll start to make more sense. The first mode is no mount mode. In no mount mode, Oracle searches for the SP file to determine how the instance is configured once it starts up. Now, this is paramount. Otherwise, if this is not done, the instance will not open, and that is the end goal of where we're trying to get to. The SP file, the server parameter file, stores files that contain the initialization parameter for the instance. Okay, let me slow down here. I know I may sound like I'm speaking Mandarin, so I'm going to translate to very simple English. The SP file contains values that determine certain aspects of how the instance is supposed to function. Essentially, it contains the rules or the boundaries of how the instance can work. Think of it like a game, okay? So when you start like a card game, when you start a card game with your friend, you set the rules from the beginning, or you should. Otherwise, you're going to have problems later on when you and your friend are arguing over the different methods or rules you each prefer. So, it's best if you look for the rule book or the card book or card book, yeah, but the rules before starting the game. In the same way, Oracle searches for the SP file to determine the established rules for the instance. After the SP file has located the initialization process, aka the rules, then the SGA memory is distributed. Plus, the background processes are started. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have some action. The instance has started. But remember, once again, the instance is a separate entity that at this point has yet to be connected, aka mounted to the other important entity, the database. So, to make that happen, we continue to the mount mode where these two entities will come together. In mount mode, at this stage, the instance looks at the database and says, hey, where are your control files? Finds them and reads them for their status and location and then opens them. The Oracle instance then reads the database control files to retrieve the names and the status of the other data files physical structures, which are the data file, of the other database's physical structures, which are the data files and the online reading log files. Which brings us to our last mode, the open mode, what our clients are paying us for. In this last mode, the control file opens those data files and the redo log files, allowing any valid user to connect to the database. Thus, the instance is open and the database is mounted. Now here is where we can shout, the database is open, even though we just learned that that is the incorrect term to use. But hey, you get the point. That, everyone, are the 4 basic modes of Oracle Startup. Thank you.